As rent moratoriums are lifted in some counties and states, how urgent is rent assistance needed to be approved by members of Congress in late July? Hey everybody, this is LA Late with a second stimulus check update about rental assistance, rental grants, and rent moratoriums and property mortgage moratoriums. Really great, interesting, and fascinating news today, and it comes from one of our viewers, Kevin Lee, who is a longtime viewer, and I want to go over one of the nuances of this. It's really great, exciting news. Basically, if you live in a major city, which are some of the viewers of this channel, some of your cities have established grants for you if you can't make rent. I want you to immediately start looking for them today. What am I talking about? Well, as the pandemic spread in March, a lot of cities across the country established grant programs. Established grant programs especially for people who can't make rent. These are rent programs. And sometimes you had to be of a certain economic level. Sometimes it was just for anyone who can't make the rent. And so Kevin Lee knew about this. And Kevin Lee is a longtime viewer, and he was facing eviction. But he had found this early on, not because of my videos. I'd love to take credit for it, but I can't. He found it on his own accord. He applied for it, didn't hear back for a while, and thought he was about to be evicted. And he got the approval. He got the grant money. So let me go through with you what happened with Kevin. Hey, like just a heads up to your other viewers. Keep an eye out also on all your news channels in your local city. That's how I came across my renters and mortgage assistance program here in Dallas, Texas, back in April. So this went live in April, and it went live in Dallas, a major city. And it was for both mortgage assistance, so if you own a property and you own your home, you couldn't make mortgage, or renters assistance. Think after the first 3 days, there were over 10,000 applications. So Kevin heard about when it went live in April, and he said by the third day, apparently they had 10,000 applications. So viewers definitely want to keep an eye out and jump on top of any help from grant programs in their cities. So what did Kevin do? He says, that's what I did in April and finally got a decision last week. So just some helpful info for viewers. Make sure they keep an eye out for any programs that pop up for sure, because they go so fast when they do. Kevin was literally facing eviction. He mentioned in the comments. He was unable to make rent because of the COVID-19. He's a longtime viewer of this channel. And yet he just jumped in one of the comments one day and said, hey, I got approved for this grant thing I applied back in April. It's really great news. Ultimately, what you need to look at is your local city and county. Sometimes these are done for any residents of the city or county. Sometimes it's done for certain economic groups. Sometimes they have grants for certain religious groups and certain ethnic groups. So I want you to consider those as well. They're out there and they don't get publicized so much. So look at your place of faith and look at your place of worship, because a lot of those also have grant programs as well. Rita Conway had a reaction to Kevin Lee's remarks. She says, sadly, there's only help in larger Texas cities like Dallas, Houston. I live in Polk County. They don't have anything. So that's often what happens, is that you have something in a major city, but you don't have it in an outlying region. But ultimately, that's what I want to inform you and educate you about, is the great news that some cities still have this. So let's get to the stimulus package itself. The stimulus package is currently the HEROES Act. It's in the Senate from the House. It proposes different relief for renters assistance going forward. One, it proposes a rent moratorium on a federal level. What is a rent moratorium? It means you can't get evicted. It means you can't get kicked out of your apartment. It proposes that eviction moratorium into all middle of next year, or until the pandemic is gone. So it would basically say if you are a tenant, you can't get evicted. It's great news. What's also great news is free grant rent money. The plan, the HEROES Act also proposes to give free money to tenants that and that rent money the tenant would give right to the landlord. It wouldn't be used for shoes or weaves or nails. It would be used only for rent and utilities. So it's great news for everyone. The tenant would be able to stay in their home. The tenant would not be displaced or made homeless. The landlord would get their rent. The landlord would not get face foreclosure. They would make their bills, the landlord. The bills coupled with a mortgage forbearance. The mortgage forbearance would prevent landlords from being foreclosed upon by banks, whether or not you're like a apartment building owner or whether or not you own your home and you're afraid of losing your home because of mortgage forbearance. So that's really great news. That the part about it I don't like, and you know what I'm about to say, because I gotta say the bad news, I gotta say the good news. The part about it I don't like is it's a bill that's not going to get voted on till around August 7th. And a lot of my viewers could get evicted by then. I've seen your comments. I feel for you. I heart for you. I want to hug you through this camera. A lot of you have told me you're facing eviction within the next couple of days. It's horrible. It's horrible that members of Congress are on vacation and my viewers are facing eviction because the members of Congress don't care. They don't care. How dare them not take action about this now? Some viewers have asked me specific states. Ultimately, the hardest thing I can't do is research every state for you, but what I can do is inform you how to do the research for yourself. It only takes 10 seconds, so this is really great news. You need to go on to Google, and you need to type in the name of your state. Let's say Texas, and then type in the words rent moratorium. That's M-O-R. I'm not going to spell it because I'm a horrible speller. Moratorium. Google will check your spelling like it'll check my spelling. You can also use the word eviction. And you will see a result, and it'll have that result for every state. There is 3 possible scenarios. 1, there's a moratorium now. 2, there isn't a moratorium. Or 3, there's a different rule for every city or county of that state. What am I talking about? So in some states, Delaware, for example, they have a moratorium that prevents any evictions until the pandemic's over. I mean, paradise, wonderful. Best law you could possibly have. A lot of other states have that as well. Some states have nothing. So they literally have tons and tons and tons of evictions on being filed. Other states have the governors not want to make a decision, which is truly horrible. The governors say, I don't want to make a decision. Let's just leave it up to the counties and cities. So some counties have evictions and others don't in the same state. A real hot mess. So what you need to know is you need to inform yourself. One viewer said, can you check, how do I check to see if my state has moratoriums? That's the way you check. You need to check whether your state has moratoriums. Now, when you get the answer, what I want you to do is also look at your city. Why? One of the viewers asked me this question yesterday, and they said something like, in California, Gavin Newsom has a rent moratorium until, I think it's like late July or something like that. He keeps on extending it. So in California, the California rule is a moratorium until late July. In Santa Monica, which is a city in California, they did a better job. They said, no, we're extending the moratorium until, I think it's August, maybe it's September. So they're extending it further than the governor. So that's what you need to remember, is that when you have a state order, the city may do it stronger than the state. They can't do it weaker. Let me go over that again, because that's a little confusing to some viewers. A state can say we're going to have a moratorium until August. A city can't reverse that and say, you know what, we're going to defy the governor's order. We're going to say there's no moratorium. They can't do that. But they can make it more helpful. So when the governor says we're going to do a moratorium to August, the city can say we're going to do a moratorium until October. They can do that. They can, because generally the ways these governor's orders are written says at least August. So then counties come back and say, no, that's not enough. We got to get it to September, October. So that's really great news. I want you to be informed about it. A lot of the viewers of this channel don't know the answer still, and yet are facing eviction moratoriums. Just please, that is one of the most important things to know about. How bad is the situation? We detailed this number earlier in another video. I got to say it again because it's so scary. It's so scary. during the Great Recession, recession of the 1990s, there were 5 to 10 million evictions over a couple years. Currently, there's pending 10 to 20 million new evictions in a matter of a few weeks. So understand that landlords want to evict people. They just do. I've seen in the comments. And what my job is to inform you, educate you, inspire you, and keep you motivated and positive. And I want you to know that there is help out there. I want you to know what are your options. I want you to know how you can get going and get moving. If you have comments to today's video, drop them in the below, and we may answer them tomorrow's recording. Coming up later today is EIDL, and we'll also be answering your second stimulus check questions from SSDI, SSI, and Social Security. One thing I want to add is that today LA Late launched a new feature. We launched a private Instagram account in which we have people share with one another helpful information, especially about EIDL grants, EIDL loans, EIDL reconsiderations, first and second stimulus check. It's a place in which people are to share with one another contacts and be helpful for one another. To get invited is very simple, and I want you to be invited. So this is what you have to do. You have to first subscribe to this channel. Second, you have to go to Instagram, to the Instagram account of LA Late, which is LA_Late_. Follow that account. You have to follow that account. Don't be miserly and not follow. You have to follow that account. Send a DM. Say, hi, I want to be invited to the private account. Can you send me the link? And then a link will be sent to you to where the private account is located. So you can sign in, get information. Currently, there's nothing in there about rent, but there is stuff about what I just talked to you about. And first stimulus check, there's stuff about the IRS, how to ensure you got the first check, and how to be teed up for the second check. If you have questions in today's video, drop them below. And as always, stay positive and stay of LA for more.